Growing up, my parents taught me to save as much money as possible. My parents are very frugal and very cautious with how they spend their money. Whenever there was something I wanted to buy, my mom would always say to me, "Wait for it to go on sale and then come back and get it." I was always frustrated with this response because I wasn't very patient, and I knew that if I waited for the item to go on sale, I would come back and it would be gone. I was taught not to pay full price for anything, and I quickly learned how much money I could save by not paying full price. We just experienced days like Black Friday and Cyber Monday, where businesses and shops claim they have the best deals of the season. This year I saw deals like buy one get one free, the whole store 50% off, and tons of doorbuster deals. Last year, over 154 million people shopped in stores and online on Black Friday. So why do so many people shop Black Friday? Well, it's because they think that they will save so much money by shopping these deals. And that's true, you do save money when you shop a deal. And there are some really good deals out there. I'm not gonna lie to you, I love a good deal. And I may or may not have spent way too much money shopping on Black Friday last week. But I figured out that if you're really looking for the best way to save money, there's a solution. The best way to save is to not spend money at all. I thought about how much money I could save if I didn't buy all the things I didn't have my eye on for a while or didn't absolutely need. How many times do we go into a store with the intention of buying one item and we leave with 10 extra items that we saw out of the corner of our eye because they were on sale or we just really wanted them? And then you check your bank account the next day and you wonder where all of your money went. I saw this meme on Twitter the other day that was way too relatable. It says, "Target cashier, did you find everything okay? Me, unloading a full cart. First of all, I came here for dish soap and I didn't even get it." How many of us have done this? This exact thing happened to me a couple days ago when I went to Walmart with the intention of buying Ziploc bags, and I left with 2 bags of tortilla chips and ice cream. So how do we decide what to spend our money on and when to save our money? I think it's more than just a want versus need thing, because if we think about the amount of things we really need, it's very little. All we really need is food, water, shelter, and clothes. We could also argue that we need things like technology, makeup, or different clothes for different occasions. There are so many different ways that you can define need, and so how do we distinguish our wants from our needs? I think sometimes we want certain things that we need. For example, I feel like having a cell phone is a necessity, but I want the brand new iPhone. But I don't need the new iPhone because I already have an iPhone. And I shouldn't go drop a bunch of money on a product I already have just because I want the better version of it. Another example is we all need food to survive, but I don't need ice cream, I want ice cream. The things we buy are investments, and so make sure if you're going to spend money, it's a good investment and the product is worth your money. We all have things that we've bought and we never use, and those products go to waste. And so what do you do when you find items or products that you want so badly and you can't decide whether or not to buy them? How can we curb our spending habits to save as much money as possible? Because shopping sales and using coupons isn't going to help us save money, it's just going to encourage us to spend more money. So here are some tips I find useful when it comes to shopping. Can you go back to? There you go. The first tip is if you don't love it, don't buy it. My mom taught me this, and it has been the most helpful tip, especially when it comes to clothes shopping. If you don't love it in the store, chances are you aren't going to love it 2 months from now, and it's just going to sit in the back of your closet or in your house and go to waste. The next tip is if you are debating on buying something, wait until the next day. If you feel you really want it the next day, you can always go back and get it. But if you forget about it the next day and you remember it a week or 2 later, it's probably not worth your money because you didn't remember it immediately. And if you end up buying the product, you're probably just going to forget about it again. There are so many items that I buy and I use once and I forget about them, and so using this tip really helps eliminate this problem. The next tip is if you really want something, wait until it goes on sale, because everything goes on sale. My dad has been wanting an Apple Watch since the day they came out, and he has waited so patiently to buy one. But he came close to buying one many times, and 2 weeks ago he finally bought his Apple Watch because he found it on sale. He knew this would be a really good investment for him because it was an item he really wanted and he knew he would use it every day. But he also knew if he waited patiently that he would be able to find it cheaper, and he did. The next tip is to be aware of how much money you can spend. If you know you have to pay for rent, gas, and food, and you only have $200 in your bank account, you probably shouldn't go spend $170 online shopping. I've heard of people using cash when they go shopping so they can see in their hands how much money they actually have to spend. I think sometimes when we use our credit cards, we just swipe and swipe and swipe, and we're not realizing what our bank account looks like and how much money we're actually spending. The fifth tip is to keep note of the items you already own. Let's say I'm in Old Navy and there's this really cute sweater that I really want, and I need to think about how many sweaters I already own. If I only own 2 sweaters, it might be smart to invest in another one because we live in Rexburg and it's cold. But if I already own 17 sweaters, I probably don't need to buy another one because it's just going to sit in my closet and I'm not going to wear it, and it'll be a waste of my money, no matter how comfortable it might be. The last tip is don't just buy something because it's on sale. The other day, my mom had a coupon for a store, and it was 25% off the whole store, but if you spent $75 or more, you got a free full-size makeup product. And so after she had added everything to her cart that she needed, she was $10 short of this free gift. And so she spent 20 minutes online trying to find a product worth $10 so that she could get this free gift. And after scrolling online for 20 minutes, she finally goes, "This is stupid. Why am I spending more money on a product I don't need to get another product that I don't need?" If you don't need a product but it's on sale, just forget about it. You may think you'll be saving money, but you're just going to be spending more money. And if you find out later that you want it, chances are, if it was on sale once, it will probably be on sale again. Let's talk about buyer's remorse. Buyer's remorse is when you feel regret after making a purchase. And I think the older we get, the more we experience buyer's remorse. Usually experience buyer's remorse after making a big purchase and buying expensive items, but I think it can happen anytime you make a purchase. Many people view buyer's remorse as a bad thing, but I think having buyer's remorse is a good thing because it gives the buyer an opportunity to reflect on his or her purchases. Buyer's remorse usually isn't associated with smaller purchases, but I think it needs to be. Because if you have a lot of buyer's remorse after buying one small item, maybe you should return that item and either save your money or spend that money on something more useful. But if you're spending lots of money and buying tons of things you don't need and you feel no buyer's remorse, it might be smart to take a look at what you're spending your money on and rethink your spending habits. My roommate last semester is the perfect example of not having buyer's remorse. She spent more money online shopping than anyone I've ever met. I would notice between 4 and 10 packages come in the mail every week for her, including things like makeup, clothes, phone cases, etc. Not to mention, she would go down to Idaho Falls every weekend to shop at Target and the mall. And the funniest part of the story is that she would complain to me almost every day about how she had no money in her bank account, and I would just sit there and I would laugh at her because she didn't realize that she was the cause of her own problem. And then when I would suggest going to maybe like Sodavine once a week, she would always turn me down because she either had no money or needed to save her money. And she didn't realize that the reason she had no money was because she was spending it all on useless stuff she didn't need. Her lack of buyer's remorse was a problem because she wasn't reflecting on her own purchases and spending habits, and she didn't realize that she was creating her own problems. And I realized that she had never been taught how to save money like I was. Saving money can be hard, believe me, I know, but it is possible to change our spending habits, and it is possible to save money. I'm not saying you should never buy anything ever again, but I think if you're really looking for a way to save money, you must change your spending habits. We must be frugal and careful with our money, just like my parents taught me to be. Remember, the way to save is to not spend money at all.